Hey guys, I'm Rachel Cruz.
I'm George Camel.
And this is
Smart Money Happy Hour.
Cheers, George.
Cheers. What a lovely drink.
It feels like a lot of love.
Wow, why is that?
You know, this podcast, first and foremost, is the podcast where two friends who happen to be money experts talk about what you're talking about. So everything from pop culture, current events, and money.
And today's episode, Rachel, is for the lovers and the wannabe lovers.
Yes.
And the hopeful lovers and the scorned lovers.
Because this is coming out around Valentine's Day. And
That's
we
right.
are here for the love. We are here for the love this episode.
So we're talking about how much inflation is sabotaging your dating life, the insane prices people are willing to pay for dating apps and matchmaking services, and what the average American relationship will cost you over a lifetime once you manage to find one. So it's not all giggles and rainbows.
Such a happy episode.
All right. It's going to get dark real quick.
Oh my gosh. But what are we sipping on, George?
We are sipping on a sparkling raspberry float.
I mean, there's a lot going on here.
There is just like a scoop of raspberry sorbet in the top
and
of this
lots
drink.
of raspberries, and I think some sparkle underneath.
There is a lot of sparkle in this, which is good. We need that. And if you notice, if you're watching on YouTube, and I hope you are, you'll notice we have a different producer in the seat, and that is producer Skyler.
Yay!
So she's sitting in for a few episodes.
Skyler, this is for you.
I know.
And
I'm
she's
so
crushing it.
excited.
Love.
I'm going to get advice on my dating life in this episode.
This is going to get good.
I'm ready for
Okay.
this.
I'm way too excited for this.
Here we go. Because George and I are both happily married to
Yes.
not each other, but our own spouses.
If you've listened to 4 seconds of Smart Money Happy Hour, you know I talk about Rachel's husband, Winston, about every 4 seconds.
Winston loves George as much as George
I
loves
think
Winston.
I like Winston more than Winston likes me. I think our chat thread will show that. Who initiates more?
And I love Whitney. I might love Whitney more than she loves me.
That's true.
I love Whitney.
And Whitney's also our coworker, which is exciting.
Yes, Whitney works
She
here.
works here at
Ramsey.
Ramsey.
So Whitney's awesome. Okay, so we're married. Skyler,
I'm single.
may I ask your, yes, because can we
Single.
say on the podcast, may or may not have just gotten out of a relationship recently. We won't give a time frame.
No details, not spilling the tea.
No deets. But officially single?
Officially single.
Okay.
Yes.
So no man on the horizon.
No.
She's beautiful. She's great. She's low maintenance. She's Skyler.
She's Skyler. Wow, what an ad. This is free advertising.
I know.
You're welcome.
think I'm
Dozens
gonna find my
upon dozens of
husband
people will
after
see
this
this and hear
episode.
this
If
episode.
anyone comments, Skyler, can we chat more on this channel?
Yeah, you know what?
Would you answer?
If you're interested, DM me. DM me if you're interested. I'll be the buffer.
And me
And if
too.
you're good enough for Skyler, I
too.
will pass you through.
Oh, this
I will
is
be the big
so
brother here.
good.
Do not DM Skyler personally.
No.
No.
Because Lindsay, our other producer, she's married. Alex
Yes.
is married. But we got a
Our first
single gal
producer here.
in this episode, which is fantastic.
So whether you're married or single, there's going to be a lot in here for you. I just wanted to call. That's the big call out. And Rachel, if
Just
they
keep
want to know,
listening.
if they want to know what we rate this drink, they want to know how much it costs. They want to know the recipe. They got to stick around till the end.
Yep, that's right. Okay, so as we're talking about singleness, a big trend, George, that was not there when we were there
No.
in that world was dating apps. They did not exist when Winston and I dated. We got married in 2009
And you guys met where?
in college.
Okay.
Yep. And I mean, I had a BlackBerry. That was the phone I had when we got married. The BlackBerry Touch, maybe? Oh, it was. It was like you could,
Wow.
yeah. So that was like the era at which we dated. Do you remember what phone, like technology-wise, you had?
I had like a Pantech. It was known as the world's smallest phone. It was like a little like
Oh, you had that phone.
it was a little like Austin
like a
Powers phone or whatever.
Zoolander.
Yeah, Zoolander vibe. It was
Okay.
hilariously small.
But there weren't like a bunch of apps, dating apps
No.
and stuff when y'all dated.
Maybe
Yeah.
Snake if I was lucky.
Was the app.
Snake. If you
Snake.
could play Snake on your phone. The Nokia brick had Snake. That was a big
totally.
one.
But that's not when you and Whitney dated.
No, I had an iPhone. I was a grown man.
Well, that's what I'm
Like
talking
an
about.
iPhone 10 back then. I don't know
Okay,
what it was.
okay.
We started dating. Whitney and I started dating in 2017.
Were there apps then?
There was apps,
Dating
but we
apps?
met at
Okay.
work, so I didn't need to worry about the apps,
Sure,
which was
sure. Okay.
wonderful.
Yeah, that's great. But we never personally have ventured into this world. But as the single people of today, eHarmony was probably the first big
Yes.
thing, right? Dating website.
You're dating yourself right now, pun intended.
And a lot of people, though, found their matches. And people originally thought it was so weird. It was like, oh my gosh, you found your husband online. Like it was like kind of this weird stigma. And now
it's normal.
It's been so normal because genuinely, I really believe this. Whether it's, you can meet somebody that you never would just run into at a restaurant. Like you wouldn't just bump into this person. But technology
There's
brings
a wider
you together.
Pool of people
yes.
you have access to.
And as a married woman, I think it's great. I'm all for a dating app. I would be on a dating app if I was single.
And there's Christian Mingle. You ever heard of that one?
Yes.
That's one that still concerns me, but it's out there.
Is it?
Not a sponsor, clearly. There's Hinge, Tinder, Coffee Meets Bagel. Any other ones I missed?
The League, Raya. We're going to talk about Raya later today.
That's a great
wow.
Disney movie. My kids love Raya.
Different, but
Very different.
similar. Oh my goodness. Well, do you remember like your first date with Winston, like how much it costs? I'm guessing and I'm sure that he paid.
Oh yeah, he paid. I bet you could guess this. This is a very easy Rachel. Guess where he took me out?
You went to Schlotzsky's.
He knew
This is the new, like, she went to Jared.
No,
she went to Schlotzsky's.
No, it wasn't Schlotzsky's. But he took me to my favorite food, which I probably told him about.
Pizza.
Yeah, we went to pizza.
Where was it? Like a local pizza?
It was a local pizza place.
Classy.
Yep. Called Savelli's in
Ooh.
Knoxville.
Still there?
I don't know. It's a good question.
You guys should go back and do like an
I know.
anniversary
It was like
date.
almost in a trailer.
This is getting less romantic, I'm realizing.
It was. I mean,
If something's almost in a trailer, it's in a trailer.
It was in a very small, but they had Christmas lights around. It was like a very intimate, small Italian restaurant. It was awesome.
That's great. And he paid?
Yeah, he paid.
Do you guys hit it off right away?
Yeah, we did. He had. Are you ready for this? He had 3 stages in his head of the date, and if it wasn't good, like you exit out of a stage. Like. If it was going good, he had like a backup, like, how can I keep hanging out with this person?
Oh, okay. It wasn't to
make
get out. It was like, to only save this. If it goes south, here's how I'm
if it
going
goes
to
south,
save it.
I'm good. This is the end of it. But if it's going great and I want to keep hanging out, how do I keep hanging out, And I made it through all 3 stages.
It's an honor, I guess.
Sounds so terrible, but it's true. Anyways.
So he paid. Was it like you share a pizza?
Yeah, I think we split a pizza.
You both like the same flavor? No issues there?
It's probably just like a
pepperoni and banana peppers.
George, you know me well.
So he paid.
Yep. So we did that.
It was love at first date.
Yeah, we
that was it.
We hit it off pretty quick.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, how about you? You and Whitney, first date. What was it?
We went to a place called the Sutler in Nashville, which is now closed down, so not still open.
I do remember that.
And we went for a drink. I made the mistake. I made so many mistakes. First of all, asking her out. I asked her out over Snapchat. Let me remind you, I'm a grown man in my 20s at this point.
With an iPhone 10 is what you said.
With an iPhone 10.
George.
I don't know what else. Asked her out over Snapchat. She called me out like a grown woman should.
Whitney.
And so our friend Michael Reddish, mixologist, she was his assistant at the time.
Okay.
And so his wife and I was at dinner with him and his wife, and they were like, you should ask Whitney out. I was like, she'd never say yes. So I asked her over Snapchat, and I was like...
Wait, text, not even video?
No, like a text over Snapchat, like, Michael and Vicky want to know what you would say if I asked...
George!
It was that bad. It was embarrassing. So she called me out.
And what'd she say? I'm not going to say...
She was like, are you just trying to see what I would say, or are you trying to ask me out?
And
I was like...
That's it. Call it what it is.
So I texted her immediately, and I was like, I'm sorry. I am a child. Let me restart. Like, give me one more shot. So...
But she wanted to go out with you.
She finally obliged. We went out for a drink at the Sutler.
Okay.
I don't remember the cost, but it was probably $30.
Yeah. Yes.
Back in our day.
I know. And it was
for
great.
a drink or two. We had a great time. We hit it off.
And then did you play the game? Like, I'm not going to text her tonight because it's too soon. Like,
it was very slow. It was months before we started hitting it off again and went on more dates.
Okay.
So I think that was maybe August, and then by January we were dating officially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So
there you go. Well, so that was
lovely.
Back. What year was that?
Simpler times, 2017.
2017.
And you were dating Winston back in what, the early 90s, it feels like?
It would have been
in your Carhartts?
07. 07 in my Carhartts. Yeah.
Okay. 07. Wow.
07. It was fall of 07.
And you were married what year?
December of 09.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on a 15-year anniversary.
I know. It's coming up this year.
I'll be there.
I know.
I'll be celebrating. But dating has changed since then, Rachel.
Yes. And apparently it's actually 40% more expensive to be single or dating than it was just decade
Sorry,
ago.
guys. You chose a real bad time to be single.
So tough. Okay, so average cost. You ready for this? To go out for drinks, $48.
So this was in 2023, average cost.
which was
in the
just
US.
like 2 months ago. George.
$48 for drinks. But I
Dinner?
guess 2 drinks per person plus tip plus tax.
Yeah, dinner $131.
Yep, I believe it.
Dinner and a movie $159. Which again, it's like so I mean $32 an hour.
For a 5-hour date, $32 an hour is what that would add up to.
I mean,
That's
dinner.
pretty
I would say
shocking.
dinner though is expensive. Like if you go and you get an
Yeah.
appetizer, you get
We went to
a
dinner
cocktail.
last night with some friends. Nice steakhouse in Franklin.
Yeah.
We didn't go crazy. We split a ribeye,
Okay. Yeah.
right? Still $150.
Man.
Because you get like an app
Sorry,
and you get a
y'all.
drink or two and it just all adds up quickly.
And here's the
that's
thing.
before tip.
Yep. And can I say this? I'm going to just go out on a limb. The listeners of this podcast who are single, I'm going to assume are career working adults, right? They're not.
Fair
There may be
assumption.
some college age people. If there are, give us a shout out. That'll make us feel real good about ourselves.
That were that young and hip
But
and
I do
relevant.
feel like when you're in college, it's like, oh yeah, you can get away with the pepperoni pizza and like, but when you're like a working adult, you're like, yeah, not that you have like crazy high expectations, but you're an adult, so it's like you're not gonna take me to Schlotsky's.
Well, I do have a.
You're
I have
gonna
a hot
go
take.
to
Tell me,
like not a crazy nice restaurant, but
Yeah.
like a fun, cool, trendy spot for a first
do you
date.
think it's wrong to do a first date like coffee or a drink for a first date versus like full dinner?
I would depend
Would
on
you
what
be offended if Winston was like, "Hey, you want to get coffee? You want to get a drink?"
oh, he did coffee for like 3 or 4 times, and that's when I was like, I'm not gonna keep just like getting coffee. You gotta call it a date.
Winston, she's working through this, bro.
know,
The
I-
amount of time she blinked at me while sharing that information was jarring at
No.
best.
Because to me, coffee's different than a drink to me. Going out for coffee is kind of like, hey, I just want to get to know you.
You get coffee with grandma.
Yeah. Now, if we're going out for a drink, to me, that's like, oh, that's a date, right, Skylar?
110%. Coffee
Okay.
is like you're getting to know someone.
Yes.
Like, do I want to take you on a proper date?
That's right. That's
And
right.
then proper
Well,
date is like,
Skylar, weigh in. If someone was like, "Hey, do you want to hang?" Like, do
We
you
don't
want
do
them to be like,
hang.
"Hey, can I take you out on a date?" Would you rather them
Yeah.
just come out and say
Yeah.
that?
I think I would prefer if you want to get coffee, like, let's get coffee. I'd like to get to know you more.
Okay.
But then you have to call it a date. I'm not hanging out. I'm a grown woman.
That's right.
You're not gonna just
Like,
hang
I don't need
your
a
worth.
guy friend. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
it's true. So,
I'm just giving tips for the single guys out there, which is almost every guy in the YouTube comments because of their comments toward me that are so aggressive. They're like, "Marriage is a scam. She's out there to take you to the cleaners, bro." I'm like, dude, you make $12 an hour. She's not taking you to the cleaners in this marriage. Relax.
George, you don't
So
know
they just make me
that.
angry. They make me angry, and they're
You're
hurt people.
so funny. Yeah. So I think we would all agree a proper date is dinner.
Yeah.
Okay,
Is that old school or is that true? I think that's true.
that's fair.
Drinks wouldn't make me mad though. It's like, hey, would you want to go grab a drink at 5? And I would love
Oh,
Yeah.
or
To
me, that would
7.
be
That's
a
a little
appropriate.
post dinner. Otherwise you're hungry then. But that's a good way to be like, if it's going well, you go, "You want to grab a bite?"
that's your third tier. You just
I
learned
wish I
your-
could go back in time. I'd be so smooth. I'd have so much Riz now that I did not have at 23.
you say
Not
Riz?
that I have any now, but like the
What's
gap.
Riz?
Riz is what young cool people call like charisma and charm and like, like just that.
Got some Riz.
Yeah.
All right.
Is that a good
Yeah. I'm not a Riz user, but I think you got it right.
I use it ironically to offend everybody. But this stuff costs money. It ain't cheap, Rachel.
No, and expectations in life are changing, George. And 23% of singles say they are now more appreciative of actually frugal people.
Wow.
So we're talking about some expensive things here, but the frugalness might be on trend there. And listen, we're not dating experts. We are financial experts. So before you commit to a date, you guys, here's the lowdown. You gotta be on a budget. You gotta know exactly
Yes.
what you're gonna spend because George, they're expensive. I mean, first dates,
Oof.
it's gonna cost.
Here's the thing, like you got to cover your bills, like housing, transportation, utilities, food. Dates it's a luxury, especially
Yeah.
for better, cooler dates. Like as the guy, I feel like there's some pressure because you want to impress this woman.
Yes.
And you don't want to come across as cheap or stingy, but you also are like, I can't spend $150 on this date. You know what I
Yep,
mean? Like
yep.
there's some real pressure there. So I feel for the guys, and that's why I'm steering them toward like it doesn't have to be this super expensive date. If your date expects that, probably a red flag.
Sure. Yes.
first
yes.
date.
Oh yeah.
If you're like, hey, like what if we like got coffee in the morning and went on like a little hike? And she's like, oh no, I want really nice dinner and brunch. You're like, this may not be the person for you if that's your personality.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, can I say this though? There is a little bit of me the first date.
You're like splurge.
Not splurge, not like go crazy, but like let's go out for some like appetizers. Like take me out. And then if it goes well, then that's where I feel like you're like, hey, let's do breakfast and a hike. Is that bad? Am I snobby?
No, I think you're right. I think that it's just to be aware. Like, I feel like if I'm on a first date with a guy, I'm not going to order like a bottle of wine. Like, I'll get like one drink and be like,
oh, that's, if you're the girl, also be classy and don't go
be
crazy.
conscious of,
Don't be like, I'll get a ribeye to go. Thank you. At the end of the day.
Just be aware of like, he's spending money on me, so I want to respect that.
Yes.
Yep.
Look at Skyler.
Well, and safety's
What
also
a
an
catch.
issue. If like, they want to do a hike in the deep woods first date, that's also kind of a red flag. I'm like, bro,
Yep.
no.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, budget-friendly date ideas. You have a great article, Rachel, on the Ramsey website. We'll link it in the show notes. It's called 45 Cheap Date Ideas You'll Actually Want to Go On.
Yes. So if you're single, there's a new line item in your budget that you're going to need, George, for $499.
Why?
And that is the cost of dating apps.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Okay, Tinder and Hinge are 12 years old. Can you believe that?
They launched in 2012. That's wild.
12 years old. And, you know, there's good things about dating apps. There's some bad horror stories. Have you had any bad horror stories about dating apps? Have you?
Only from friends, because they'll show me, especially the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be like, so these are the guys that pop up on mine. And I'm like, that looks like the most wanted list. Like, how are these people allowed on apps?
Yeah.
Like, put your best foot forward. Some of these guys barely have
weren't.
feet.
Oh my God.
It's not good.
Step up, man. Step up.
Or they're just holding fish. What's up with the have you seen this trend?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Is that attractive to you, Skyler, when you see a guy holding
You're
a fish?
outdoorsy.
I don't know. It depends. Like, sometimes not.
What's the, like, if they're attractive, then the fish is attractive at that point?
Yeah, I'm not one to be like, I need a fish pic, but if one comes, then like,
But don't you think that says a lot about them? Like, unless you love to fish, you're like, this is my life. He's going to be showing me
He's showing
fish.
his passion,
give a
though.
little
He's showing his
grace,
passion.
but he just loves fishing, George.
It'd be like you wearing a lapel mic, you know? Like you're out speaking.
Or it's like you wearing all brown.
But like, I like movies. I'm not going to post a pic of me watching a movie as a flex. You know what I mean? That's weird.
Just because you're mad at fishermen, George, doesn't mean you have
I
to judge
love
them.
fishermen.
Okay, so here's the rundown of a bunch of apps. You ready for this?
All right.
You got Bumble. You got Hinge. You got Tinder. The League. Oh, wow. This is... Okay, so The League is serious professionals. Can't say that
Oh,
word.
it's like very
Exclusive.
highfalutin. There's an
Very
application
exclusive.
process. You have to have a completed LinkedIn profile.
Dang.
Nothing's more romantic than, would you like to connect?
And then Raya.
Yeah, right.
never heard of this
Crazy.
one.
So what's your
this one's
favorite,
celebs.
Skyler, as our single gal?
I don't have any dating apps.
Okay, what? Give us like the rundown on like what's the worst, what's the
Yeah.
best.
From what you've
I would
heard or
say
seen.
for Tinder is not great.
No bueno.
Yeah, I would
No
say
bueno.
like that's like kind of young and it's not like anything serious.
Yeah.
I heard Hinge is. I have a lot of friends that have good luck on Hinge, and that's good. I feel like I have a lot of friends that do Raya for fun, and that's like
And what's fun about it?
it's invite only, but you can match with celebrities. So it's like if you
Do they actually match with celebrities?
I've had a few friends that have.
Or it's just like a guy named Todd. You know what I mean?
Sometimes it's a guy named Todd, and sometimes it's not a guy named Todd that.
But
is
the
a
girl
celebrity.
doesn't have to be the celebrity. It's mostly the guy that's the celebrity,
No,
or both.
I feel like it's both. I feel like that. I don't know if I would rely on Raya for like love.
Yes.
But maybe if you're just trying to match with a celebrity, that's your place to go.
How about the League?
The League. I've never done the League, and I
Okay.
actually don't have a lot of friends that have done it either. But I've heard of it, and I've
Okay,
heard.
so Hinge is kind of the go-to.
Yeah, I think Hinge and Bubble.
Is
There we go.
eHarmony anywhere?
eHarmony. I don't think so. anymore,
Nowhere.
girl. I don't
Nowhere.
But I do know
Nowhere.
some people like that have met on eHarmony and have wonderful marriages. So
I know. It's
no
kinda what I
shame.
thought. Yeah, let's go through the monthly cost of these, George, shall
This
we?
is the part that's going to blow your mind.
Okay, so Bumble Premium is $39.99 a month, so $500 a year. Hinge X is $50 a month, $600 a year. Raya Plus $50 a month, $600 a year. Tinder Select $500 a month or $499, almost $6,000 a year.
Shut
And
the
the
front door.
League VIP, ready for this? Almost $2,500 a month, so $30,000 a
That's
year.
more than a mortgage payment.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so if you're going to be doing though these, would you say, Skylar, that you need to upgrade to like the premium, like the paid versions?
I don't think so. I think that you
Okay.
could do the free version.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man, this
That's
is
a big line item in the budget.
this is a big deal.
I don't like. What if you never meet someone and you're just spending all this money per month, and it's like,
Well, the idea is you're not all on these for 5 years.
Yeah.
I think the goal would be you meet someone on there within the year.
but sometimes people are on these for 5 years, are shopping like $500.
But if someone was like, hey, for $500, if you could only meet Whitney, but it cost you $500, I'd be like, I'd
All
pay
day.
way more.
Sure.
Dude, unlimited amounts of money.
For sure. Yes. Yes. But what's crazy about these apps though, George, is there's add-ons like super likes or virtual roses.
Oh, that's sad. So these are virtual tokens you send people inside of the app to say,
Yes.
hey, I really, really, really like your profile. Please pick me. Just
So the most
Full
expensive
Zoolander.
package of roses, 50 roses for $74.99.
wow.
You know what? I think I'd get to the point that I think I would judge. I would judge if someone paid
for a virtual
to
rose.
give me a
Like, it'd
virtual
be
something.
a
Why
little
don't you
bit
just
tacky.
message me a nice compliment? Right?
That's the problem.
and that's free.
I do think it's stressful. That first line you have to send in the app is probably so like what do you say?
Oh my gosh, what do they say? Teach
You know what I mean?
us.
Like, what would
do
Winston?
they say?
I feel like Winston would just be like, "Hey," and then you'd be like, "Oh my gosh, he's so hot," and then you'd be like, "Hey,"
What do they say? Just like, hey, how are you?
I
or do
feel
they
like-
try to have like a pickup, a funny? I feel like they
Yeah.
always try to be funny.
I feel like they try to be funny, or they'll be like, "I like your style," or "You have pretty eyes," stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Or
Or I
if
like
you're-
your
if-
style is not. It's very like chill and not too aggressive. Like your style. I would never be able to say that seriously, but like, what would you say, Rachel? You see Winston, you guys match. What's your first line if you had to initiate first, like Bumble?
Hey, how are you?
And he's out.
How's your day going?
That's good. If this was AIM, you would be crushing it.
Hey, what's up? WTZ.
I'm so glad you missed out on that era.
What would yours? Well,
Yeah, what's
I feel
yours,
like, I feel like
George?
girls could get away with it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
what-
doesn't really matter.
Because
Do
what do you
majority? Can I ask
say?
this? Do majority of girls message guys first, or is it still pretty traditional?
that's
Like
only
guys
Bumble.
message girls.
I think Bumble, the women has to reach out.
Okay, you have to on Bumble.
Yeah, on Bumble, the girls.
How about
will message
Hinge?
guy.
Do most of the time the guy will reach out?
It's kind of half and half, I would say, but it's half and half.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't know.
Wow.
It's hard. Like it's hard to start a conversation for sure.
For sure. Oh man, y'all, I'm stressed.
Back in the day, it was like college, church, and bars, or like family friends. You know what I mean? It was your mom being like, "You gotta meet Scotty. He's a nice guy. He's a CPA." I don't know why they're all from Brooklyn, but that's how it goes. But matchmaking services, to be fair, we're all willing to pay for those. People are for centuries. Even
Yeah.
today, there's one Indian matchmaking, Jewish matchmaking on Netflix. You can watch these shows.
Oh yeah, and see the actual shows.
So these can cost tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And people pay for personal ads in the paper.
No,
Up
they
until
don't.
the 90s, they did that.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you
Yes,
put a personal
yes.
ad out there.
For sure. Yeah, it is. It's wild. So, solidarity to all you single listeners and viewers out there. We are here for you. And, I don't know. It's an interesting thing going through all the dating apps and the profiles and all of it. And one survey found, George, that Americans spend on average. Are you ready for this? This is the cost of relationships. Let's pretend that like the Hinge
Okay.
and the hey, how are you pickup line really takes off and you end up in a relationship on average $9,233.32 in the first 12 months of a relationship.
Wow.
And over the lifetime for the average American, a relationship costs on average $192,000. That's pretty wild.
I don't know what that entails when you say a relationship, because once you're married,
Well, I think it's like
all kinda
anniversary
squishy.
gifts, trips. I mean, like, yeah,
dates,
that your money you're putting into the
babysitting.
relationship.
That's the new. I'm learning that now.
Oh,
Rachel.
babies. Oh, yeah.
That's tough. Like when you're
Yeah.
married and you have kids, to then go on a date, you have to also consider the cost of the babysitter for
Oh, yeah. You're
3,
paying,
4,
you're
5
paying
hours.
double. Yep. Not just the
100%.
dinner. You're paying.
So budget for it, but still
Mm-hmm.
go on dates. It's very important. Don't just skip them because it's expensive.
Yep. That's right.
This includes engagement rings, wedding bands, all the holiday stuff.
So I think the moral of the story is When you're single, it's expensive.
When
When you're married, it's
expensive.
expensive. Love is expensive, but it
But
doesn't
it's
have
worth
to be.
it. It's
Worth it, but
and
also
doesn't
put
have
in the
to be.
budget, and it doesn't have to be. This is the world expectations. You don't have to live by those.
I like that. What are like set the expectations early on and no
Yep.
shame. If you're
Yep.
like, it's okay if you can't afford $200 date nights when you're 23 and you're just getting out there.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Or
don't
you're
feel bad.
32.
Or you're 32. Like everyone lives in very different economic climates and situations. But I think just being upfront.
Yep. That's
I
right.
don't. And if the other person is offended, they're probably not for you anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot to be learned in that
It's a
dating
good time to like note the red
timeline,
flags.
for sure. All right,
Beautiful.
George, it's almost the end of the episode, and we like to close out every episode with Guilty as Charged. And this is where our producer, Skyler, gives us a new Guilty as Charged question every week. And if we are guilty, we take a sip. So, Skyler.
Have you guys heard of icks online? Like, ooh, they have an ick, or an ick is essentially something that it's a trait in someone that you don't love.
It's like a little trigger.
Yeah, it's
It just
trigger,
gives you
like
the
it's
ick.
icky.
It's an ick. Okay,
so
okay.
It's an ick.
So the question today is, do you have an ick that drives your spouse crazy? Do you personally have an ick that drives your spouse crazy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which of these can I share is the
I've
real
got-
question.
Like about myself, that drives
About
Winston
yourself,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, we're not here to trash talk Winston.
I'm going to say yes. My water bottles. Sorry to everyone that recycles and like doesn't use plastic water bottles. I have water bottles on my nightstand, in my car, and my purses. I'm like, they are just
Like
and
plastic
they're
water
half-
bottles?
and they're probably half like
Oh, can
you
you
know
tell
what I
us
mean?
what kind of bottled water you prefer?
I do
You do the Kirkland's
I do
purified water?
Kirkland's.
The 40 pack?
I do Kirkland's 40 pack. George.
16.9 ounce?
Yeah, because it's like $4. It's, yeah, unbelievable. So, anyways, I just have I have water bottles ever, and then if I like drive his truck, which in the snow recently here in Nashville, I've driven it a lot. I grab all my water bottles, and because I have very good intention of like drinking all the water, and then I don't, and I leave it. And
But if it's a half bottle, you don't like go drink it later.
I try.
Eventually.
Yeah, it's my goal.
But then there's empty water bottles everywhere.
Yeah, and half it. Yeah.
Poor
I would say
Winston.
that. I would say just I got water bottles galore.
Oh, man.
What
That's a
would
good
your
one.
what would yours be?
What is Whitney bothered by?
Or
I mean, that's
happy-
essentially what you're saying.
Yeah.
If we're going to be honest. What is the like
Yeah.
tick that she's bothered by? I think it's truly being on my phone.
Yeah.
I'm just like, the phone addiction really bothers her. And she's like, look at your baby. And I'm like, oh gosh, okay. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Look at your baby.
That's a big one. And then just like going to bed, and I'm always like tossing and turning. Like it takes me a good 45 minutes to fall asleep.
Oh,
and I think
really?
that bothers her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like
Those
pulling
are
the
good.
sheet, like that.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't have any sheet. She's like, I don't have any sheet. I'm like, do they make sheets bigger than king? Like, how are we having this problem?
How is this an issue? That's a good one.
That's real life marital stuff right
yeah,
there.
that's fair. That's a good ick. I feel you, Whitney.
That's a good one. All right, we're both guilty.
Okay, so who finished their drink first, George?
It's your boy.
Yeah.
Thank you. The sorbet is left. I'm waiting for it to like thaw out so I can just drink it like a smoothie.
That was a fun drink.
It was. So here's what is in the sparkling raspberry splash. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It's got raspberry sorbet, like a little scoop in there, chilled ginger ale, and fresh raspberry.
Oh,
That's pretty good. It's very simple, but it feels uppity somehow.
yeah, it's good.
So it's $1.89 per glass, and if you want to try it, it's a great mocktail. There's no alcohol in it, and you can get the recipe in the show notes. So give it a try as you celebrate your loved one, or you celebrate you. That's for single people. That's what that was. If you're wondering, Rachel.
That's for Skyler.
First guy.
That's for Skyler. Make one.
Hey,
Do a Galentine's.
Galentine's.
Yes.
That's what I was gonna say.
Whitney still does
Actually,
Galentine's.
Valentine's is the most overrated,
Thank you.
stupid consumerism holiday in the whole world. So
I
let's
will
just say
cheers
that.
to that, Rachel.
I don't even know. We celebrate on the 13th.
Just as some sort of.
Kind of a middle finger, and that's when we got engaged. Was the 13th.
Well, that's a lot more romantic than it is a middle finger. It's really
it's both
cute.
because it's like we're not gonna like
But also, you
do
got
the whole-
engaged the day before Valentine's Day. Is
'Cause
there
it was
anything more romantic?
cheaper.
What
think
is
is
the
why.
engagement or the dinner?
Yeah, the dinner. Yeah, you got.
You know what I will say? I'm done with these whole prefix dinners.
Yes, George.
Like you're gonna charge me $80 and choose what I can have.
That's it.
No, thank you.
Get it out of here. Don't go on Valentine's.
No,
Not worth it.
we don't do
Stupid.
Valentine's dates anymore.
We don't either.
You know what? We should do something together.
We should.
The cruise and the camels. Just
You want
get
to come out on the 13th?
Papa John's heart-shaped pizza and watch a movie.
It is a heart-shaped pizza.
I knew it.
That is a true thing.
There you
Very
go.
true. I just texted Winston and I said, can I know my, let's see. You want to do my ick real quick?
Quick ick.
Quick ick. Let's see what he would say.
Put him on speaker.
I am.
Like right in front of the microphone so we can hear it.
Got it.
Right in front of the mic. All the way, volume all the way up.
I'm trying.
Hello.
Hey, babe.
Hey, babe.
Oh, hey.
All right, you're live. We're talking.
Wonderful.
We're on
That's how I live my life.
Live it live.
we're on our Valentine's episode, and we're talking about the ick that our spouse feels towards us. It's meaning, what's the thing that I do that you're like, ugh, the ick? Like, man.
Just, first of all, anything on Valentine's Day, because it's like very cliche.
Yes.
So just
Amen.
All things Valentine's Day is ick. Sorry to ruin your whole episode.
Nope, we agree, babe. It's good.
Okay. Man, something like romantic that you do that's ick. I have a pretty.
No, not romantic. Something that's like, oh wow, that's annoying.
Mostly just leave stuff everywhere.
Yes. Yes.
Including water bottles, is what I said.
Everything. There is no including. There's no excluding. It's just it could be. All of it could be anywhere.
There
at
you
one
go.
Time.
That is fair. That is, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, build yourself 2 sinks, y'all. You gotta, or you're gonna be using a half bath.
His and hers sink.
It's so true. Okay. Perfect. That's all we needed. All we needed. All right.
Come home soon.
Thanks, babe. Love you.
Love
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
That was great.
Perfect.
Nailed
Everywhere.
it.
I thought it was just water bottles.
That was so great.
Apparently, it's everything.
That was the best phone a friend meets
Everything.
newlywed game.
I know. Okay. It's closing time. You guys, what a great episode for all the lovers out there and the singles. We hope you have a great Valentine's Day. Make sure to leave a comment. Talk to us. We
Yeah.
want to know a review as well.
We're
because
lonely too.
we love to know what you think about this podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an all new episode of
Smart Money Happy Hour. Cheers.